Alcatraz is a small island in San Francisco Bay, famous for its prison that held some of the most dangerous criminals in America. It was called the Rock and was thought to be impossible to escape from. But in June 1962, three men, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, did the unthinkable. They broke out, and what happened to them is still a mystery. Frank Morris was very smart and had escaped from other prisons before. The Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, grew up swimming in icy Florida rivers, which later helped in their escape plan. Together, the three of them worked for months to prepare. They were determined, resourceful, and patient, and they knew that any mistake could cost them their lives. Their first problem was getting out of their cells. Alcatraz cells were small, cramped, and built to keep people inside. But using spoons from the cafeteria and old saw blades they found, the men started to dig around the air vents in their walls. It was slow and risky work. Every night, they chipped away carefully, breaking the concrete bit by bit. To avoid getting caught, they hid the debris in holes in the walls or flushed it down the toilets. They also painted cardboard pieces to match the walls, using these to cover the holes they had created. Over time, they managed to carve out holes just big enough to crawl through. The next problem was fooling the guards. Alcatraz guards did regular head counts, especially at night, so the men needed to make it look like they were still in their beds. They made fake heads using soap, toilet paper, and hair collected from the prison barber. The heads were painted and looked so realistic that guards didn't suspect a thing. Every night, the men placed the heads on their pillows and went to work behind their walls. Once they got out of their cells, they entered a dark utility corridor full of pipes and wires. It was dirty, cramped, and filled with the sounds of the prison. Here, they began to prepare for the most dangerous part of their plan, escaping Alcatraz Island itself. Using over 50 stolen raincoats, they carefully made a raft and life vests. They used heat and glue to seal the seams, and even crafted paddles from scrap wood they found. To inflate the raft, they repurposed a small accordion-like instrument called a concertina. It wasn't perfect, but it was their best shot. On the night of June 11, 1962, the three men decided it was time. After months of work, their plan was ready. They crawled through the holes in their cells, climbed into the utility corridor, and made their way to the roof of the prison. From there, they slid down a drain pipe to the ground, carefully avoiding the guards and searchlights. Finally, they reached the shore of the island. The icy waters of San Francisco Bay were waiting for them, but they didn't hesitate. They inflated their raft, climbed aboard, and paddled into the dark, foggy night. The next morning, chaos erupted in Alcatraz. Guards discovered the fake heads still lying in the beds and realized the men were gone. The alarm was raised, and a massive search began. The FBI, Coast Guard, and local police were all involved. Boats and helicopters scoured the bay, and divers searched the water. They found pieces of the raft and some personal items, like photographs floating in the water. But there was no trace of the men. Officials said they likely drowned, but without any bodies, no one could say for sure. Over the years, the mystery of the Alcatraz escape has only grown. Some people believe the men made it to freedom. Stories have surfaced about the Anglin brothers living in South America, blending into small communities where no one would recognize them. In 2013, a letter appeared, claiming to be from John Anglin. It said that he and Clarence had survived and were asking for medical help in exchange for revealing their location. The letter has never been confirmed as real, but it made people question everything. Today, Alcatraz is a tourist destination that attracts millions of visitors. Walking through the cold, narrow cells, it's hard not to imagine what it was like for the men who lived there. The story of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers is told again and again, capturing the imagination of people from all over the world. How did they plan it? What drove them to risk everything? And most importantly, did they make it? The Alcatraz escape is more than just a prison break. It's a tale of ingenuity, courage, and the desire for freedom. Did Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers survive? Or did the icy waters of San Francisco Bay claim their lives?